Now let's think about what makes a good binary search tree or a bad binary search tree. It has to do certainly with the ordering rule that we talked about before, where every value to the left is lower and every value to the right is higher. That allows us to make our decisions accurately and know that we are in the right portion of the tree. But we're going to find that there are other features of a binary search tree that improve or harm its performance as well. To dig into that, let's approach this question of the maximum number of comparisons, or steps in other words, that it might take to search for a value in each of these two trees that are shown. They both have the same values stored in them, but it's going to take different numbers of steps for each one. And then think about what feature of these trees impacts the number of comparisons that you have to do, the number of steps that you have to take. So pause for a moment, think about how many steps and what decides that, what impacts that. There are multiple pieces you can pull on that. Pause, think about it. Answering the first question is not too hard. We can see that given that we have to start at the root of a tree, to get to any of the furthest out locations, the leaf nodes in this tree on the left, would take comparing with 30, comparing with one of 30's children, comparing with one of its children, and then one of its children. So at most we have to do 4 comparisons to get through that tree to a leaf node. We might get lucky and it might be a smaller amount. We might be looking for 10 or we might be looking for 30, but the maximum number that we have to do is 4 in this tree. On the other side, with all the same numbers, just arranged a little differently, but still following the binary search tree rule, we might end up having to compare with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values to get to the leaf nodes that are furthest down here. So that answers our first part of the question. It's worse in this tree. We have to do more comparisons in this tree on the right than we have to do on this tree on the left. And let's think about what causes that, what features of the tree impact this. Trivially, we can see that how long the tree is, how tall the tree is, or this is referred to as the height of the tree, that affects the number of steps it's going to take. If the tree has a height of 3, then the most steps you'll ever have to take to find a leaf node in there or to find any node in there will be 3. So the height of the tree impacts, and in fact even decides, the maximum number of steps or comparisons. And then thinking a little more deeply on that, obviously a tree with more nodes is going to sometimes require more height to it. If I added 20 more nodes to this tree, I would have to add at least 1 level for those nodes to fit into. And why is that I would have to add a level there? I would not necessarily have to add a level in the other tree because there are spaces. There are empty spaces. 25 has a left child, but no right child. 10 has no children and is not at the very bottom level. 20 has a left child, but no right. 62 has a right child, but no left. And so whether the tree is filled out in this way is important. We refer to this as balance. So balance impacts the height and therefore the max number of steps or comparisons. Balance is this question of whether there are an equal number of nodes to the left as there are to the right of a given node. So we can calculate it for a particular node, like 30 in both of these trees has a good balance. it has an equal number of nodes on the left of 30 as there are on the right of 30. So there's good balance there. And when we have good balance, that gives us a decision that splits our data in half. We want every decision to split our data in half. So that's not the case when we're looking at lower nodes in the tree on the right. 25, when we make a decision, does not split our data in half because we still have almost the exact same amount. The only thing we've eliminated is 25 when we compare with 25. 23 does not give us a good split because we either end up with almost all of the data or 10. And so we're not getting these nice splits. What we want is not just balance at the root node or balance at any individual node. We want balance at every node. So a perfectly balanced binary search tree is like the one on the left. If you have any children, you should have 2 children. If they have any children, those should have 2 children, and so on. And the number of total nodes in the left subtree under a node should be equal to the number of total nodes in the right subtree of that node. So for example, 10 has 3 to the left and 3 to the right. It has perfect balance. And likewise, every other node in this tree has perfect balance. We won't always be able to achieve that. For example, if we only had 2 nodes, we're going to have a root and either something on the left or something on the right, but we can get as close as possible, and we'd like to because it gives us these good decisions. And so you're going to look a bit today at this question of balance and what makes a good binary search tree, and a little bit about how to build binary search trees and how to remove things from binary search trees as well. And so you'll work on those in sections B and C of the activity, which will lead you into working with some more of those in labs and projects coming up.